Just wanted to make a quick video to tell you guys a little bit about how to get started with organic gardening. So the main point is it's not really as difficult and time consuming as it might seem. Typically I get started on a Saturday or a Sunday. Maybe text me a half a day, and what I'll do is I'll take a old sheet or an old blanket or an old tablecloth, cover up my table, get a cheap, maybe like a dollar store plastic tablecloth, just to make sure that if any of it, when I'm watering or anything like that, if it was to leak on my table, I don't want it to get damaged, obviously. So I get started by buying these plastic containers. Once you buy them once, you could typically reuse them. Yes. Do not come over here looking like that.
So, she makes this video a lot longer than it needs to be. All you need to do is go to Menards, buy some seeds, buy some of these, reuse them, get a tablecloth. She starts on March 1st. And yeah.
Actually, yes, I do usually start on March 1st. However, this year, because of the cold weather, I waited an extra 2 weeks because in 4 to 6 weeks from March 1st, the ground wouldn't have been ready to go just because of the frost. Okay. So, anyway, so I buy these containers from Menards. They're like 99 cents. I buy packs of these guys. I don't know what these are called, but they're like little containers. They come in 3 sizes. They come in small. This is the medium size, which is about 80 or 90 cents. And then you have a large. I typically get the medium size because it gives the vegetable a little bit of room to grow, just because sometimes you don't know how long you will keep them in these containers. It all depends on when there is no more danger of frost. So you just basically wait until you know it's not going to drop below the freezing points, and then you could put them outside and put them in the ground. So I buy a bunch of these. They come in packs of 8. So it would really depend how much stuff do you plan on growing. Also, once I run out, like I'm not going to go back to the store and purchase more of them. This is all I'm going to get. You could reuse them next year. So once you take your vegetable out of here and put it in the soil, in 4 to 6 weeks, you could just empty the dirt out of the container and you could keep the container and reuse it for maybe the next season. Some of them will be messed up, some of them will be still good to go. So it's really up to you if you want to keep them. Again, they're not that expensive. Pack of 8 for about 80-90 cents. Okay, then you'll go, you'll buy your seeds. When you get the seeds, you need to make sure that the seeds that you're going to put on the inside are the ones that are to be grown inside, because some of them are to be put directly in the dirt outside when there is no more danger of frost. So like your lettuce, your beans, your radishes, your beets, your cauliflower, those things are going directly in the ground. The ones that you're going to put in the containers are typically cucumbers, tomatoes, squash, peppers, zucchini or cauliflower. Yeah, so those are the ones that you're going to basically start growing out inside. Okay, if I run out of these containers, like I said, I'm not going to go back to the store and buy more. What I'm going to do is fill this big container with dirt and just make holes with my finger, and then just put the seeds in the big container. It's not a big deal. Okay, you could figure it out basically as you go. Okay, so this is my setup. I got all these little guys here. Already put them in the plastic containers, and what I'll do is typically I try to keep them separated. So for example, this container I could make this type of pepper. This container, it'll be a different pepper. This container, it will be a yellow tomato. This will be a cherry tomato. This will be a beefsteak tomato. So basically I try to separate it so that when I'm ready to go out there and put it in the ground, I'm not confused about what's in this one, what's in this one, where should I plant it? Because you keep in mind, specific spacing is required for different type of vegetables. So for example, squash, it says you need at least 24 inches apart. For a cucumber, it says 12 inches apart. For zucchini, it says 36 inches apart. So that's why it's important to know what's in each one of these, so that when you get ready to put it out, you know exactly how to plant it. It's not rocket science, you can figure it out, okay? But basically, to set all of this up, it took me maybe 15 minutes. Again, throw the tablecloth, throw the plastic tablecloth, get your container separated, and you're good to go. You want to buy some good seed starting mix. I think this was on sale. Maybe I bought it for like, I don't know, maybe like $3 or something like that. I bought 4 bags, and those 4 bags should be enough to fill all these little containers. If I run out, I got some other soil left over from last year in the garage that I could always use. Just keep in mind, most people are not going to grow all of this. I have a pretty large garden. I have actually 4 different areas where I grow. So this is a lot. Chances are you're not even going to have all of this. You're probably going to have maybe, 3 or 4 containers to fill. So just get a couple of these bags, fill them up, and then get your seedlings in and start growing them. So what I do is, I get some, Lexi, can I have my gloves? Okay, so you can do 2 different things. With the gloves, you can have the little bit thicker ones. These are like garden gloves, so they're nice and thick. They got a rubber bottom here so that you can't pinch yourself or nothing like that. And I like to use those once I go outside. If I'm in the garden, I don't want to touch worms. I don't want spiders walking on me. I don't want none of that stuff. So I use the little bit thicker ones. For now in the house, this is nothing but soil. There is no bugs in here, nothing like that. I just don't want my nails dirty, basically. So, Lexi, can you see what the dog's doing? Yeah. So I'll put these on. These are just your regular plastic rubber gloves. You could buy them anywhere, basically. Not too expensive, so you shouldn't have any problem getting those. Okay. Lexi, what you'll need is something to scoop the dirt out of this bag and basically distribute it into the individual containers. Hey, stop. Okay. So basically that's what you're going to do. This is going to take you a little bit of time, probably maybe 20 minutes. So let me go ahead and work on that, and then I'll get back to you guys in just a few minutes to tell you what are the next steps. Okay. So I finally got all the containers filled. It took me a little while, maybe about 30 minutes, 40 minutes maybe, I don't know. You don't want to fill them all the way. You fill it maybe like 3/4 or maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, whatever. Just not all the way full, obviously. And as I mentioned, if you do run out of the containers, it's not a big deal. Just get the plastic one and put the starter mix in here, and then you can put your seeds in here, which is fine. Just be careful of overwatering. Since this plastic thing doesn't have a hole at the bottom of it, don't put too much water in it when you water it, so that it's not a swamp or whatever you want to call it, mud, whatever. Okay, and then I try to figure out what's the best way to kind of separate it. So I'm going to do, again, as I said, I'm going to divide them. So now you have the tomatoes. These are different types of tomatoes, so I'm separating them into separate pans. We have the cucumbers, 2 different kinds. I'm going to try to see if I can fit them in here. Peppers, 2 different kinds of peppers, cauliflower, zucchini, squash. So you don't have to necessarily do all of the seeds, but you do want to do a little bit more than you're planning on growing. For example, zucchini, for a family of 2, I really only need 1 plant, maybe 2, and that's going to be so much zucchini the entire season that I'll probably be throwing it away. So you probably need just 1 or 2 or 3 zucchini plants. However, the reason why you're going to plant a whole thing of zucchini plants is because you want to make sure that it all grows, because what's going to happen when for some reason a couple of these plants die? So you don't want to take a risk and end up with no zucchinis at all. That's why you always want to make a little bit more than you actually plan on putting in the ground. If all of your plants end up being really nice and thick and sturdy, and you could see they're going to be nice plants, you could give them to someone. You know, if you know someone that's gardening, maybe a neighbor, you could give those plants to people. So that's what I'm going to do. For example, if I have, you know, this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. This is like 8 or 9 zucchini containers. So I'm only going to put 2 or 3 in the ground. The rest of them, I might give it to my mom or give it to my neighbor. But again, you don't want to not make enough, just in case if for some reason some of them die. Okay, so it's really simple. You open your packet. Do not throw the packet in the garbage. The reason why is all of the information as far as, you know, this one, it says 50 days to harvest, put ½ an inch deep into the ground, moderate water, full sun. So it kind of tells you what it does and what it is. The reason why I like to keep it is for spacing. When I put it in the ground, I have to remember that this zucchini plant has to be 36 inches away from the next zucchini plant. So that's the most important thing to me. I just need to know how far to space it when I finally put it out there in the ground. Also, you want to know what's in this specific plastic pan, so that's why you're going to keep your packet. And typically what I'll do is I'll just keep tape handy, and I'll either just stick it in here and leave it like this, or I might tape it to the side so I know exactly what's in here. Okay. So what you'll do is, and these are just seeds, so it's really simple. You take a seed, a single seed, and stick it down and put a little bit of dirt on top of it. I mean, that's all you do. Stick it down, put, you know, you don't stick it down too far. Just push it with your fingers, maybe ½ an inch in, and that's it. That's all there is to it. And just loosely cover it with dirt on top of it. So that's all there is. Once we get done with doing this, we're going to water all of it, and then I'm going to put the clear plastic tops on top of them. I honestly don't know what it does, but I think it keeps moisture in, and maybe it makes it a nice greenhouse effect where it's nice and warm and moist, and then it promotes faster growth. I don't know. I just guessed it, but I like doing that before the plants actually come out of the soil. So I have seeds left. I'm just going to put them back in here. So for example, if I'm seeing maybe 2-3 weeks from now that this is not really growing, I would typically maybe just grab a couple more seeds and plant them to see if I can make some more if needed. But just keep it. So you're done with the zucchini. That was nice and easy. Now you're moving on, doing your squash. And by the way, those grow like crazy. I mean, a single plant, I go out there like every other day and I have a huge squash and a zucchini or multiple all at once from a single plant. So just keep in mind, if you're not a big squash or zucchini eater, just do maybe like 1 plant or maybe 2 plants max, just because again, those will give you a lot of fruit. Okay. So again, 1 seed per container. Really quick and simple, and we're done. So I'm going to do that for the rest of them. I'm going to pause this video because I don't want you guys bored just watching me put these seeds in here individually. And then maybe I'll put it back on when I get to tomatoes, just because the tomato seed is a little bit different. Same with the sweet pepper seed. Those seeds are real tiny. Those are the actual seeds that are inside of your peppers. So the same thing, you only want to do 1 per container. So again, just make sure you're separating them. Again, they're tiny, so that's a little bit more difficult. Okay, so I'm almost done with the seeds. I think did all of them except for these 2 right here. And just so that you know, the tomato one is real tiny. It's really tiny. So you have to be sure to separate them and put them into their own individual containers and not drop like 3 or 4 seeds per container when you do it, okay? And that's basically it. So you have your seeds in. The only thing that we need to do now is just water it. I gotta actually go in the garage, find my little watering thingy, but that's all it really is to it. Once you water it,
Finish your sentence.
once you water it, you're gonna
You're gonna what?
you're gonna cover it with the top, and like I said, just leave it. Basically, you could take the tops off in the daytime and just put them on at night. But until you actually start seeing plants come out, I like to keep the tops on, okay? Water it as needed, basically every day, maybe every other day, just based on how dry you think the soil is getting. So, again, it's separated by each individual vegetable. Like, for example, the cucumber, I don't have that much room for cucumber plants, so I just planted 8 of one variety and then 12 of the other variety, but I have it marked in the container because one requires 12 inches of space, the other one requires 24 inches of space, so I'm going to need that information for when I actually transplant it into the ground. So yeah, this is basically good to go. So we got these tops here. All you're going to do, again, I'm going to water it in just 1 second. I'm just going to show you guys, you're just going to cover it tightly, and you're done. You're basically done. Again, this is a pretty well lit area. This is my dining room table. The sun comes up on this side on the east. It's a good amount of light. The other window is on this side, so it's a decent amount of light all throughout the day. So we're just gonna cover it, and maybe in a couple of days I'll do a follow-up video just to show you guys what it looks like, because the cucumbers typically are the first ones. 2-3 days in, those will be plants. Everything else typically will take about a week. Some of the things will take a couple of weeks. I think peppers take the longest. Those will probably not be plants for about 3 weeks. So they are all, at different speeds of progression. But again, as long as they're water in a well-lit area and in a warm area, obviously if they're in your house, you probably have a temperature of at least 70 degrees inside, and that's ideal growing conditions. Again, I'll be posting a second follow-up video once these guys start looking like a little plants. So I'll show you the progression of it. And then I will also show you guys, in the meantime, what you should be doing as you're waiting for these little guys to develop into little plants. Once it's a little bit warmer outside, I'll go out there and show you what you need to do to prepare your ground or maybe your growing area. Okay? Thank you for listening.